Welcome back to the channel. Today I bring you a masterpiece, Lacrimosa from the Games. This game is based on the life of Mozart, so he dies and he is not able to finish his last work called the Requiem, so you'll be trying to be the one picking up Mozart's work and finish that masterpiece. Okay, so the box is very heavy, has lots of content, and it's the first game that I've seen in terms of quality of details, production levels, etc., that for some reason decided to include here foiled painting to put this image here. You can also see, not sure if it's Mozart or someone else that's trying to pick up his work. You see the music scores on the back. And it's so difficult for me to show it on the other side. Lacrimosa. This is an edition that has all the language from around. You can see the board, pick the common board and the place board. So I'm going to show you all the components, what is inside the box, and then I'll give you an overview of all the rules. Okay, so let's go and see what is inside. As you can see, it's filled to the top. So I've kept here two manuals in order for the manual to go around the table. So I'm going to show you the English version, which has lots of flavor here. There's a letter from Constance Mozart. Dear friend, this should be, is it Mozart's wife that is asking for help? There's a bit of history here. December 1791, on his deathbed at the age of 34, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart wrote the last 8 bars of his life, the Lacrimosa of the Requiem in D minor. His widow, there it is, Constance, has decided to contact up to 4 of the late composer's most generous patrons to help her employ the right composers to complete the work and leave it finish it. So Mozart was never able to finish it, and it's up to us to do it. So it's a big setup. This game has a big setup. Then you'll play in 4 steps. These are the actions, so you will use some cards for the actions. I'll show you those. Just giving you an overview of everything. Then the manual goes into detail of all the components, all the boards. I know for someone that is looking into this for the first time, it may look complex, but it's not. After you understand how the game works, it's not that complex. And there's a solo version as well, never tried the solo. And then a glossary of icons to help you. But as I said, it's pretty easy. Okay, so we have coins. We have player. So as a player, you only have a board, cards, and these meeples. So yeah, the yellow, the blue, the purple, and where's the other one? Somewhere, I'll find it. So more tokens. These tokens represent the resources in the game, which is travel resource, writing resource, and memories resource. Not sure if the names are exactly this, but you'll see. This is for solo mode. I've named this so the memory cards and the opus cards, which I'll show. You have the starting decks. Then you will also have 4 components that will collaborate, and the game asks you to choose 2. The names are very difficult names, so I'll try Freistadler, Stumbeyer, Eibler, and Stadler, not a Stadler. So these are also, you need to choose. There's the brown player. Okay, see lots of things coming out. These are the traveling tokens. And then one thing that this game also differentiates from the rest is look at how much this occupies in terms of space. These things are the player boards. So you see, that's the yellow player, which will get this and this. It looks like a book, you see, like a music book or something, and then you open, and that's your player board. It's double layer, as you can see. Double layer, the quality production is to the top. And everything there I've given you here, it will go there. And I will show you how. And then you have also one for all the other colors. Then there's one of the biggest boards in board gaming, and the token for the first player. As I mentioned to you, one of the largest boards in board gaming. I had to raise my camera in order to show you all its plentitude. But first of all, I like the color. It's that vibe of old 19th century kind of vibes. And there's the map of Europe. Basically, this board is divided into 3 sections. You have the traveling, where you will try to follow the steps, or Mozart. By the way, where's Mozart? We need to find him. Yeah, he is here. Let me invite Mozart to join us. There he is, Mozart. So Mozart. So Mozart will be traveling around Europe. We can see here cities. I know it's on the side, but there's Munich, Innsbruck, Salzburg, Vienna, Riga, Berlin. No, not Riga, sorry, Prague. I'm reading it sideways and with these manual kind of letters. So you will be traveling, trying to relive Mozart memories throughout the game. Then this is like the middle section. Then there is a top section, which is a market for cards that you will buy during the game. And then there is the bottom section, which is the Requiem, where you'll be creating the music score and working alongside the composers that I will show you how. So now because this has some complexity and linear logic here in the game, let's start by taking a look at the player boards and the cards. So for the sake of this example, I picked the yellow player and the yellow board. Okay. So by the way, just as an advice, always try to play board games if you can using Melodice as a platform for creating that environment sounds. This game, it works specifically very well because it brings all the operas, including Requiem and Lacrimosa. So you'll be hearing Mozart and similar operas. So it's a very big experience. Very, very cool. I really recommend if you like to have this environment sound. So back into this, I have the double layer board in front of me. If you notice, there is something here which is difficult for me to take out, so I won't do it. But this part also comes out, and you can change the language of the support things that are written here. In this case, it's not in English, but the box also brings in English. And the sections that you have there are 8 slots where you can do something that you don't see every day, which is slide in a card like this, you see, or slide a card above. Okay. Never tried with sleeves. I don't know if the game supports that. Could be something that would annoy some people, not being able to play with sleeves, especially if you are fitting in, fitting out, etc. Cards will get damaged for sure, but it's up to you to try. Then on the left side you have like the purse, because in every turn you will have an income phase, and the income will be the one you see here, depending on the level of your purse. So here you start at the 2 coins, but then if you upgrade, you'll get more coins as well as some resources. These are the resource track, and from a certain level forward or upwards, you also get victory points to move, which are these brown round circles there. In terms of resources, you have these tracks and you start on 2. So the game will give you more resource and they will go up and down. But there are all the resources, they have two types. They could be either temporary resources, which would be the squares here on the track, or you also get the same resources but in a shape of a disc, which you'll get from several places. Okay, those will be held here. Oh, I just lost the disc. It's coming back. It's coming back. You'll be putting them here, like the coins as well. You will save those coins here, and you can use them when you need to use. You can either use the discs resources or the squares. You should always use the squares, because in the end of every round, the squares will go back at 0, and you will do the income phase, and you will see how many resources you will have for the next turn. So always spend those first, because you will lose everything that you leave there. Okay? These will stay for the next round. And then here on this side, this is the instruments that you have available in order to help the composers creating the Requiem or finishing Requiem. So when you will use them and take out these meeples or these tokens, and they will give you the powers that you see here, which includes money, resources as discs, going up the purse 1 level here, or a victory point. So the main mechanic here is with the cards. Okay, so as you can see, all the cards have 2 sides. This one doesn't count. This one goes here. It's opera for it to sing. But you have 8 cards that have 2 sides. The above side, which is the action that you are going to do on your turn, and the bottom side, which is the resource that you are going to generate on the income phase. So you can see there's the square, black square. So that means that the black track... Oh, this is not correct. I just noticed. I filled this incorrectly. That will be the correct version. This goes up on the black, okay? So this is singing or selling opera, right? So if I put it this way here, and if I choose another card and I put it down, this would mean that I wanted to perform in this turn the opera singing or selling, and in the end of the round, I will generate all the resources that I spent here, that I put here, which will include in this case red cube. Okay, so every time you need to decide which action you are going to perform, but you need to give away another card for the resource part. And you only have 5 actions, so some of them are repeated, like you see here, two crosses. We have 2 of these, 2 of the singing with this one, and this one should be a traveling. Yes, traveling and traveling. The only one that you have only once is this one. Okay, and it has more resources than the rest. Okay. So what do the actions do then? Basically, when you choose the above, you are going to do that part, which includes working with the composers, would be this action, traveling in Europe with this thing, singing an opera. Okay, and by singing an opera, it means that here on the left side, there will be some cards like this one or other ones that you buy. These are operas for you to sing during your game. This is called Nannerl Notenbuck 3 Allegro. Not sure what it is, but there's some historical notes here. The year that was created, maybe you can look it up. And here, listen to this, which would be very interesting. But then when you sing this opera, when you perform it, it will cost you 0 black resources, and then you will get 2 money. So that's how you get money in the game, one of the ways. And then later on, if you decide, instead of singing, I want to sell it with the same action, that would cost me a black resource. But then I go up my purse level 1, and I get 0 victory points. So the better the cards that you'll get throughout the game, more points more money they will give you, and they will allow you to go up the purse more points and give you straight away more victory points. So when you sing, the opera stays there tapped, and then in the end of the turn you untap them. Okay, and so you do this kind of decision. Oh, you also have this too. Sorry, before I move to the next part, this is buying operas from the market, and this is buying upgrade cards. So all these cards, they have upgraded versions, as you will see, that could be bought. This includes better actions or 2 actions instead of just 1, better resource. So there's some deck management and deck building here for you to improve the cards that you have in order to be more efficient. Okay. And so you have 8 cards. Sorry, 9 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cards. And in your turn, you need to choose 2, 2, 2, and 2. That means that in the end of the turn, you will have 1 card. That card stays in your hand for the next round, and the other 8 are shuffled and created as a deck. So at the beginning of the round, you need to have 4 in your hand. Then when you go to the next turn, you pick 2 more to choose which ones you put here, then 2 more, and then in the end, there will be only 1 card left that you pick up and choose which pair you want to put there. So that's how the end works. Now, it would make sense for me to go to the board again and see every section one by one. For the top side of the board, that's where the market is, and that's where you will acquire new cards to either improve your deck or operas for you to sing. Okay, the way you identify is if a card looks like this for here, that's opera. Okay, and it is placed on the board because the board has two placement areas. It places on the lower side in order for you to complete that drawing that you see there. Okay? But then if the card is an upgrade card, then you put it on the top side of the row where you will, not sure if you can see, but there is a drawing there of a candle. And in the bottom of the cards also have here this small part of the design that you need to fit there in order to know that it goes to the top side. So basically on your turn, if you want to go there, on your starting cards, you had these two cards here. This is the upgrade card, which corresponds to that drawing there, you see, or there. The same thing. That's where for you to draw, to pick up one of the upgrade cards, or if you prefer to buy an opera, you use this, which is the drawing that you see there. You see, it's a bit far away, but it's a bit faded, but it's the same thing. So let's imagine that I wanted to do this and I choose this action. I put it on my board as I shown you. So then I would choose one of these, operas, one of these four in order to buy. So the way you read the operas is there's a specific, they have specific types which could matter, and then you need to pay the cost that you see above. So this one, for example, would cost me 1 black resource, 2 coins, and when I get it, I immediately get 3 victory points. And then this stays here next to my board. Every time I sing, I will have that power. Or it could be 3 coins, but give me something better, like more coins, or when selling, more victory points, etc. And the more you go down the deck into the other ages, the better the cards will be and the more expensive they will be. Okay? And also, the more you go to the left to buy, for example, this one would require an extra black resource, and this one would require 2 extra black resources. So you should always try to buy the most cheap ones, which will be the ones more towards the right. And when you take one, all the cards slide, and then a new one comes from the back and is put above. Okay? And similar logic to the upgrade cards. So instead, if you use this, okay, you would choose between this, and that, and you need to pay what you have below in terms of cost. So this one would only cost any kind of resource. This one would be 3 and 1 kind of resource, and the last one, which is very far away from the left, 4 coins and 2 resources. So if I just move everything up, you see that the more they go to the left, the more expensive they become. Okay. Cool. One thing with these cards, the upgrades, is that you need always to have those 9 cards in your hands. You cannot have more. Okay, so it means that when you use this, at the same time, you chose a resource card to put below, right? So the card that you acquire, imagine that you acquire this one. You need to replace this one that you acquired with the one that was below. That one goes away to the box, and this now becomes a second one. So when you burn a card, when you replace a card, you need to be careful to see if you are replacing one type of action for something that is similar or whatever strategy you have, because the other one that you throw out, you will never use it again. Be careful. Be careful. If you throw, it's impossible to throw this one out because it's the only one, but with the other 2, you need to be careful. What is an upgraded card? So this one, for example, instead of just doing this, you also gain these 2 resources when you use the card besides these 2. This also gives, whenever you travel, you gain 2 coins. Whenever you do this, you gain that. That's how you read, okay? And later on in the deck, the cards will become much more powerful. So for example, this is sorted for year 2 to year 5. On year 5, you can get things like 7 coin, 4 victory points, 6 straight away when you buy. There's no need for upgrades on the final round, so you get straight away 4 points. There will be, I'm just going to move through, it's too many cards. So for example, this one on year 4, you can have 2 Requiem actions instead of just 1, and see you already get victory points from the income phase as well. There are lots of things that you can do. I'm just gonna scroll for you to see. You should build an engine that favors your strategy. Okay, you can sing twice, which is very powerful. You get an engine of producing money from the operas, etc. Okay, so why the ages? Why the ages? That's because the game is divided into, they call it ages, but it's 5 rounds, right? And on the first round, in the beginning of the game, when we set up, we need to choose one of these tiles randomly, and this tile will represent what happens during 1763 to 1772, a period of life of Mozart, right? So every time, everyone that add moving actions, they will get one of these rewards, and the chosen tile stays here on this section in order to remind everyone when scoring the round what will be then the extra thing that everyone gets. And then we discard all the remaining cards from Era 1, and then we start Era 2, where we replace the market with the first Era 2 cards, which is from 73 to 77. Not sure what happens here on this image, but then the rewards will be this, one of these. And then on Era 3, Mozart met someone, I don't know, different rewards for this section. Era 4 is moving again. Oh no, this time it changes. This time could be either moving, singing, or buying operas. We don't know. Depends on what is chosen. And then the final era. Two of them is Requiem, and one of them is buying more operas. But we can see that Mozart is already lying on his deathbed. Yeah, so that's Mozart life shown here. Let's bring back Mozart and travel around Europe. So as I mentioned, if you use this action, the traveling action, you will be moving around Mozart in Europe. He starts on Salzburg, and then you need to decide where you want to go. So there are roads in the map that connect cities. So Salzburg is connected with Vienna and with Munich. Okay, so imagine that I want to go Munich by any reason. So I will need, I can go anywhere. The cost of it is the money from traveling. So if I need to go here, I need to pay one coin, okay, gold coin, and then I'm here. Then what I can do is I can pay one travel resource and I get this tile. Okay, so this means it's a cost, which I spend one red resource and I get 3 in forms of discs of the white resources. Okay, this can go away, these tiles go away, and then you don't replenish that, it stays until the end of the entire turn. And then other players can pick Mozart from here and continue traveling, paying the costs, and then if they want the tiles and the rewards, they just pay whatever the tile has there. So those are the smaller tiles, the small rectangles. But then you also see there are some squared tiles here. Okay, for example, in Paris here, this one is you need to pay 2 red resources. Immediately you get 1 back. At least it costs you only 1, but you need to have 2. And then this is the end of the game bonus. You don't get anything immediately, but in the end of the game, if you have on your portfolio one type, for every set of these 3 types of operas, not operas, this is instruments on the Requiem, you will get 7 victory points. Okay, and there are other options like this one here. If you have these 3 sets of different operas, you get 5 points, and you can have it multiple times if you have more than one set. Okay, so there are many different tiles, as you can see. You score differently in all of them. This one is not instruments or operas. It's the scoring part, as you'll see in the Requiem. This is cards from these different eras. So I'm gonna show you a bit how they look, right? For you to have an idea. Okay. And then in terms of resources, you can have either immediate going up on the purse, you can do an action, you can gain points, immediately gain points considering the type of operas you have, or you can get victory points. I mentioned that already. So those are more immediate rewards. Then what happens in the end of the round is you need to fill all the empty spaces with new tiles from the corresponding size, and then the ones that were not picked, you turn them on the other side. So they now look a bit different, but what that means is those tiles become much more interesting. So let me show you an example. A normal side would be just 2 victory points, but then if you take it from now on, it's 3 victory points and 2 coins, and it still costs the same. So it's a good opportunity, could be a good bargain if you get something that normally was this and now it becomes this. You see that there are added value there. Only one section to go, and this is the Requiem part, the bottom part of the board, which for just framing purposes, I've folded the board just to show this part. So basically, in the beginning of the game, during setup, there is one setup card that is randomly taken, and then depending on the number of players, you cover some of these icons and leave others open. So I'm not going to do that now, just showing you the setup, how it works. And then what happens here is the following. There is the Requiem action, which is the cross action that I'm showing you here on the starting player. These two, okay, you have two of these, which is working on the Requiem, this section. Basically, this section, there are two composers that you also choose in the beginning. For the sake of this demonstration here, I chose Eibler, and the most difficult name here is Stubmeier. So this would be Eibler's row and Stubmeier's row. Okay. And then when you play Requiem, you need to choose which column, which I'm not a musician here, but I guess there are names here that could identify whatever we are looking for. Sections of the Requiem: Kyrie, Sequentia, Offertorium, Sanctus, and Agnus Dei. Not sure what I just said. And then you can see instruments here. There are these instruments. This part has more instruments. This one even says Lacrimosa here, which should be important. Domine, Jesu, Hostias. Would these be parts of the music? I don't know. I don't know how to read this. But anyway, what you do is when you choose Requiem, you choose which of these 5 places of the music, parts of the music you want to invest or help creating. Then you need to pay you need to pay the cost of the tiles that you see here. But you need to choose if you want to invest on Eibler to do the work or Stubmeier to do the work. So imagine that I want to go here into Offertorium and I want this tile. Then I would need to pay 2 white resources. That's why you need white resource for this section. And then 4 coins. When you do that, if you are the first, it's always cheaper because below the other tiles will be much more expensive. You see that this is only costs 4, then 5, and then 6. So I pay that, I get this. This is going to give me a bonus, which is immediately, not immediately, from now on, every time I sing opera or play opera from this type, I get 2 victory points. So it's very important for you to know what you're doing. That one is for that kind of operas. And getting back to the player board, you need to take this symbol from one of the available instruments you have on your portfolio. So if I take this, for example, from the trumpet, that would be from here or here, I get what's there, and then I need to block that part with my yellow token if I'm the yellow player. And then the reason why I need to choose is because of the bonus, okay? But let's imagine that I put it here. Then because I've taken Stubmeier, the bottom guy here, he has 1 key, 2 keys. I need to identify as I'm supporting Stubmeier there. Then other players will do the same throughout the game. And then in the end of the game, whoever composer has the majority, the supporters of that composer, they will win 3 points. And the others will win, on the second place, they will win 1 point. Okay, and so there are many points and many powers here available on this section. So here is 3 and 1, 4 and 2. This one's 3 and 1. This one is super powerful. 6 victory points if you win, or only 3, and then 3 and 1. And the kind of things that you can get there is like more resources, immediate resources. Every time you go on the 3rd stage, you get that income. And every time you play, this one are direct victory points. But be careful, it will cost you 1 level of your purse. So you need to go down 1 income level. But aiming for these 6 points is very important for you to have those in the end of the game. So you need to always need to sacrifice 1 level of your purse. And then this is also the bottom ones on the 5th are also very important because they always allow you to do one action twice. Okay, so this one, Stubmeyer, you will be able to do Requiem. Every time you do Requiem, you do it twice. On Eibler, every time you travel twice. And the other two will be every time you buy twice. Or every time you play an opera, you play twice. That's also very important, playing operas. Lots of operas. Okay. And that's it. So in the end of the game, you just count all the scores you've done. You count your end of the game bonus. You count the bonus from your bet into the composers. And that's it. That's Lacrimosa. Whoever has the most points wins. So I hope you've enjoyed this travel through Mozart's work and Lacrimosa. If so, don't forget to hit that like button and consider subscribing. I have playlists for many board games out there, as well as for all the major card games in the market right now. And I also have a podcast, which is called The Table Talks. The name of the channel is in the channel, where I'm meeting people to get to know their profiles, their projects, their stories while playing board games online with them. So I definitely think that you will find interesting content in the channel, to consider subscribing and to be part of this community. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you in the next videos. Goodbye.